When Republicans push through their tax cuts, a lot of people in our era brace themselves for a pounding that as high-tax states like New York and New Jersey would bear the brunt of it. Now, the $10,000 cap on the deduction for state and local taxes, it's causing a lot of folks to lose a key vehicle to mitigate their tax burden. Same deal in neighboring states like, as you know, if you're watching us in Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, that's where residents pay a personal income tax and also those high property taxes. Now, Governor Cuomo in New York, he had a plan to deal with this by making property taxes a tax-deductible donation so homeowners could still catch a big break. Journal News, they've been investigating this issue and they found that Cuomo's workaround looks like it could be DOA, that thanks to the IRS. And by the way, paper also mounting a new marketing campaign in our era promoting its investigative work like we're seeing in this piece on taxes that we're about to discuss. And joining me now for that, the author of the piece and of the Tax Walks column, David McKay Wilson. So, in short, Cuomo and really the city of Scarsdale really started this thing, thought they had a workaround. Say, okay, you know what? We'll make this a tax, basically a contribution, charitable contribution. We'll be able to write off 95 cents on the dollar of it, and there we go. IRS basically called their bluff and said, no, you can't do a charitable donation if you get something for it in return, and that's exactly what you're getting. You're getting a break on your taxes.
That's what happened. The proposed regulations that came out at the end of August, it was what people feared was going to happen. The interesting thing about it, though, is that the state wasn't going off willy-nilly when they created this charitable fund for the property taxes and giving the tax credits back. They based it on what has been done for many years for private schools in many states in the southern part of the U.S., where you could give money to a scholarship fund and get a dollar-for-dollar tax credit for the donation to the private school scholarship fund, which had been found to be legal. Now the IRS proposed regulations makes that illegal as well.
Now, not the race to the courthouse as the expression goes, but some towns got ahead of this and some tax filers got ahead of this to a degree and took advantage at least for 1 year when others didn't. And I know that you had
Rybrook, right, the village of Rybrook did it, but not only 6 people got in on it in Rybrook. In Scarsdale, about 70 people did. Only they paid about $500,000. It was only 1% of the, because it's all very, at that time it was very much up in the air. Then after this, the IRS proposed regulations came out and the school tax bills were about to go out in Scarsdale, they said, well, you know, we really can't in good conscience continue with this.
So let me bring it back full circle, which is, you mentioned, they didn't come up with this idea, this charitable deduction idea out of whole cloth. They looked at what was happening with private schools here and that scholarship provision that they took care of. Now, especially for those school choice crowd that has a lot of money behind it, they're going to fight this thing tooth and nail. And the governor mentioned and others that this fight may not be over. Is that election season posturing, or is it possible that they may have, you know, one more round in this fight?
Well, this is what's happening with the IRS regulations. There's a public hearing in November. The final regulations most likely won't go into effect until sometime next year. So for the 2018 tax year, it's going to be pretty much status quo. After the regulations are actually implemented, which will be sometime in 2019, it's expected, at that point there could be litigation on it, but who knows how long that would take to resolve.
This question, more political than dollars and cents, but given the unprecedented deficits they're rolling up right now on the federal level, why even go through a charade to pay for any of this? I mean, literally, we're talking trillions with a T that we're racking up right now. They never paid for these tax cuts. Forget about people agreeing or disagreeing. I'm not even getting into the politics, but the optics of it. Why even bother with this? I'm being serious. They're not paying for this at the end of the day, really. They're paying a fraction of it. I mean, why even go through the charade?
Well, this was, they had to balance it out when they first passed it. The elimination of the state and local, the capping of the state and local tax deduction was saving almost $900 billion over 10 years. So it was a substantial amount, and they needed
that. That's no money, I grant you, but consider the alternative. It's just like, really? They seem to not want to make any enemies and just give away at the candy store. But for this one group of children, which happens to be in our areas and areas like it where they're paying a price. I don't know.
Well, and it is the blue states, the Democrat controlled states that are suffering, will have the biggest hit on this particular element.
Well, we all wondered how this thing was going to play out. It almost sounded too good to be true, and in the end, it looks like it was. But we'll see if those school choice folks make enough noise here that they may have a little bit of mitigation. But as always, great reporting. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, when we come back, only in this White House could a stenographer be a controversial figure. A woman who worked for both Barack Obama and Donald Trump shares her stories and tells us why she left the Trump office when she did.